Okay, more evidence. I already showed you 3 pieces of evidence from that iconic photograph that I began with, and here's more. As it says here on this photograph, every Apollo photo contains this unnatural separation line. Let us refer to it as the Kubrick horizontal. And what this is literally a line, a sharp line separating the foreground from the background wherever there's something in the background, like this fake mountain. Many of the photographs, in fact the majority would have just a black sky, but wherever you have a distant background with things in it, you have this separation line, okay? And it is totally unreal, and it's ubiquitous. There's only one exception in all the hundreds, if not thousands of photographs I've seen, and I'll show you that in a second. But what you'll notice is the great amount of detail in the foreground, which is clearly real. You know, there's no question that this here is not totally made up. But what it is it's a stage set. It's a real stage set. This, however, is simply a projection on a screen. It's totally unreal, the background. And a number of, or at least one commentator said that every Apollo photograph seems to have 100 meters, what do you call it? A field of 100 meters in width, and then nothing, and then it drops off, and then, you know, things change. And that's what you see in all of these photographs here, is this stage set, which is limited. It's usually limited. As I said earlier, there are some photographs with a much larger field, but usually it's about this size. And then the fake mountains in the background, like so. There's the Kubrick horizontal. And many times it's so blatant that it's absurd. As if, you know, I mean, different coloring and everything, okay? And so sharp. Now, this is the one exception that I mentioned. And here they succeeded. They obviously took more trouble, put more effort into it. They blended the fake background with the foreground. But still, you have the detailed foreground and the totally washed out, bland, fake background. In real life, there is no such differentiation, certainly not such a sharp transition between foreground and background, at least not usually. Okay, and notice these people here to give you the scale of this scene. So here you have distant mountains, but they aren't totally washed out. You still have detail there. Why? You know, these guys had excellent cameras. So they took what should have been excellent photographs, but all their distant mountains are totally featureless, bland, mushy things, okay? Anyway, so here the point is that there is no sharp distinction between foreground and background. Now, in these photographs from a panorama I took at my Nevada desert site, you'll see that eventually, as I pan, okay, we get to this point here where there is a sharp line. Okay, so it can happen in real life, but this is not the norm. This is in a specific place with a very particular geography. There's a dip beyond the end of this territory, this area here, okay? There's a dip, and it's in one direction. It's not all around. This is more the norm. This is the norm here. You have no sharp distinction between foreground and background, and you have detail showing in the background objects. Where you do see the sharp contrast between foreground and background is in this filmmaking technique called front screen projection. Okay, there's the stage set and the actors, and then on a screen in the background is a larger scene. This is a scene from Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey, and this shows what's going on. There's a screen projected background and a foreground studio set. Okay? This is all there is in reality. A stage with actors in monkey suits actually, and the large screen for the projected background. And this is another scene from the same movie, and here the stage set is quite small in this particular scene, and then you have a larger background view which is totally imaginary, just projected. So here you have Apollo with the same sort of setup. An actor on a stage set, quite real, but only a stage set, not the surface of the moon, and then the projected screen background, or rather the projected background on the screen. And this illustration shows how it's done. You have a one-way mirror with the mirror on the opposite side. So here's the projector. It reflects the scene onto this large screen, especially reflective screen, and then the camera shoots through the glass, unreflected here, unreflective, I should say, unreflective, non-mirrored, okay, and this is what you see here. A real actor on a real stage set with a projected imaginary background. And this is a home setup showing in a little bit more clearly what's happening. You have the projector, the mirror, the special fabric screen, and the camera shooting through the glass. There's the mirror, the one-way mirror.